very highly of Josh Brown. I'm like, dude, why is he on him so hard?
Wanted to talk about Mr. Josh Brown from Full Devil Jacket.
Yeah. Man, I've
You
been
know,
waiting to talk about this band since before we
Me
even
too.
started the podcast. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm telling you, back when, uh, bro, it was like 2004 or something like that. I'm like, how is Full Devil Jacket not the biggest band in the world right now? Like
Yeah.
when they came out, I was like, they are freaking gonna kill it. And I just had that record on repeat all the time. I
Mhm.
was showing it all my friends and stuff. They're like, you're right, this is good. And not to get too deep into this already, but I was just like, they came out way too early, I feel. You know what I mean? I I just
Um,
I really feel like if they would have came out, how do I put it? Because when did that album come out? I'm sorry, I'm like jumping right into something
no,
that
you're fine. It came out March 7th of 2000.
2000, yeah. And so I
Mhm.
I just kind of feel like what they did there was like a stepping stone almost of what like Seven Dust, when Seven Dust was the biggest. It's because Full Devil Jacket wasn't the heaviest band out there, but man, they could write freaking melody,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Josh Brown's voice is just, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, he's so good.
It's interesting because, in a lot of places where you go to kind of look at information and how people categorize these records,
Right.
a lot of people, yes, it will say new metal, but it
Right.
will also say post grunge.
Yeah, and that's the
Um,
thing. Yep.
and I'm like, okay, and I'm going to be honest with you, I had to look up what the hell that meant, you know,
Yeah, I hear it all the time,
but
and I
it
don't.
but it makes sense,
Yeah.
I don't remember what the actual definition was, but it
But
made sense to me at the time,
yeah, I
you know.
guess post grunge, I think, is like it's like the almost like the lily pad between grunge to new metal, because that's how it went. It
Yeah.
was, grunge was huge and the new metal's huge. And I think post grunge was, people are trying to figure this out.
Mainstream hard
Yeah.
rock
Yeah,
kind
but
of
you could
vibe.
definitely see that it had like a grunge feel to it,
Mm,
and it definitely, when you're listening to, say, Alice in Chains, and then you listen to, say, Cold Chamber. Well, which does Full Devil Jacket sound more like?
right.
Alice
No,
in
that's very
Chains.
true. That's very true.
But it had some screaming in it. I think,
Hmm.
some dirty vocals, and there's some crunch to it. But
Yeah.
again, I'd say if it is new metal, it's 8% new metal.
Right.
It's
It,
definitely
it
more of a hard
it had
rock.
some it had some couch riffs on it,
Yeah.
you
Oh, for
know.
sure. Yep.
And so I mean I can see why both are listed. But at the time coming out in 2000, you were kind of at the real height of new metal, I think. If memory serves, Hybrid Theory came out that year, so there was a lot of focus on that kind of riff
Sure.
writing. And I do think that being the case, all of those bands kind of overshadowed Full
Oh, big
Devil,
time. Yeah.
which was unfortunate. Um, but that's kind of how it panned out. Um, so any idea how they got signed, how that whole story went?
I have no idea.
It's actually kind of, I mean, I'm starting to see a pattern with a lot of these bands, and what's happening is they're kind of being discovered by a producer who is then taking a demo or whatever piece of music and chopping it around.
Sure.
So the band is from Jackson, Tennessee, and there's a producer in Nashville. His name is Malcolm Springer, and he discovered the band and started working with the band. He produced a Wax Box, the EP that preceded the full length record. He also produced the full length, but he then got them in touch with Island Def Jam, and
Okay.
that's how that whole thing went. And then he stayed on to produce that full length. So and I'm starting to see that pattern, which is interesting because it's like, how do you get in touch with producers? How does that all work? Like,
Right.
come to find out that it really is right place, right time. You
Sure.
know, um, they see you play and they're like, yeah, I want to work with you, kind of a thing. And in this social media age, I see a lot of these producers on like Instagram, And that's what the stories that they tell. It's like, oh, I was at the Viper Room and I saw this band and I'm like, yeah, I need to work with them. And that's how all of that pans out. It's you're
Yeah,
not so I almost think, in my career, I've skipped a step. You know what I mean?
sure.
It's like I try to go right to the label.
Yeah.
It's like, what about going to a producer first
Yeah.
and then going to the label?
Right. I think that's
Seems
probably what
to make
everybody
sense.
did. It does make sense, but I
Yeah.
think that's what everybody did was just like got to shop our stuff around to the labels
Yeah.
and stuff,
Yeah.
But
As opposed to going through a producer, which you go through a producer, you'd think that a label is going to, I don't want to say like it more, but feel like it's produced. It's not
right.
just, you know, a garage recording or whatever,
Yeah.
and I keep thinking back to, the early 2000s when, we were actively trying to get a record deal with somebody. Um, there was always the word solicitation thrown around.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, well, we can't take anything unsolicited.
You're
But
right.
nobody ever said, how do you get this solicited?
Yeah.
It's like, well, looking back and knowing this, I kind of think this was the way
That's
you
probably the
did
way. Yep.
that, so
All
it's
right. Let's
like,
hop in the time machine.
yeah, exactly. Hindsight's always 2020, right?
That's right. Yep.
Um, so yeah, in Malcolm Springer, he actually has a podcast called Malcolm Springer Unplugged.
Oh, really?
And in searching through his podcast, he's on YouTube only. Malcolm Springer Unplugged. Guess who else he's worked with pretty substantially? Who's also from Tennessee?
Oh, man. I have no idea.
We've already talked about him.
Spine Shank.
The man, Josie.
Oh,
Josie
Josie.
Scott.
Duh, that makes sense. Oh,
Yeah,
duh.
he worked on Josie's acoustic EP and some other singles for him. But there's an episode of his podcast where he has Josie on that's actually pretty good. So if you want a Josie fix, that's a good listen
There you
too.
go.
So yeah,
That makes a lot of sense, though.
yeah. He also did Digimortal
No
from Fear
way. Are you
Factory.
serious?
Yeah.
No way.
And these are just production credits. Like he's all over, engineering for bands like Collective Soul and Matchbox 20, like bigger bands.
Sure. Yeah.
So he knew what he was talking about.
Absolutely.
And, being based in Nashville, which, I mean, that's Music City.
Sure.
There's
Yep.
studios everywhere. And they recorded in East Iris Studio and New Reflections. East Iris is actually now owned by Universal Music Group. And when I saw that, I'm like, well, that's an interesting rabbit hole. What else do they own?
Right.
So I kind of went through. Turns out they own Abbey Road too.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
what UMG started doing is they literally wanted to control everything from beginning to end
Okay.
and participate in all that revenue, right?
Wow.
So they bought these studios just to be able to pay themselves. So it's like, okay, Full Devil Jacket, we're going to give you X amount in an advance to record your record, say $250,000, and it's going to cost you $75,000 to record. So we'll just go ahead and take that right back from you since you're going to be paying it to us anyway. We own the studio. And I'm like, man, okay, I see, I get it now. So then I'm like, okay, do only bands signed to a Universal imprint get to record in these studios? I don't know the answer to that. Don't really care. But East Iris is a pretty slick studio,
right.
to be honest. But I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
When they say they participate in all revenue streams, they're not kidding.
They're not joking. Yeah.
Yeah. They literally, any way they can make money, they're going to do it. Man. On one hand, that's really smart.
I was going to say that's actually really smart. Because if you think about it, though, too, I mean, it benefits the band as well because it puts them in a situation, I feel like, where they're probably not, when you're talking about the advance and, they're probably not counting down the minutes and the clock at that moment. You know what I mean? Where it's like, they're almost in this position where we were when we were writing our album, where it's just like, you got all the time in the world because it's part of the machine. So, oh man, that's insane. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. And I know we're kind of getting off of the whole where did Josh go kind of thing, but we'll get back to that, I promise. So, like we mentioned before, the record itself, the full length was released March 7th, 2000. And they did They toured, with Creed. They toured with Nickelback, Typo Negative. They played Woodstock '99, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people know him from the Tattoo of the Earth tour.
Right. Yeah.
They were actually on the CD sampler for
Yep.
Tattoo
Yep.
of the Earth,
Oh yeah.
so they were really getting a nice little push from Tattoo of the Earth.
Yep.
Um, but it was on the Creed tour where Josh OD'd,
Right.
and that was kind of it for it at that time. He quit after that, and then found Christianity.
Yeah. Yep.
So he started focusing on that and formed a band called Day of Fire, which they actually were nominated for a Grammy,
Yeah.
and I
That's
didn't know that.
awesome.
And I
Yep.
was like, "Good for you, man!
No kidding.
Do your thing." But certainly glad he got clean.
Yes.
That's never an easy hill to climb, you know. Um, so,
Man,
but
that's crazy.
yeah. Um, but I
Yeah,
should
I
go and
guess I
listen to
didn't
some
know
Day of
all
Fire.
that.
Yeah.
That's interesting and good for him. I mean, I'm a big Christian myself and everything, and so that's pretty neat that obviously he saw this path as leading me to a very, very bad place right now, and so
Mm-hmm.
he got off of it and
Yeah.
found his
And I mean,
way, which is neat.
there's videos. I mean, you could tell, like, just from a performance perspective, that there was something else
Yeah.
kind of on board there.
So they were touring with Creed when he OD'd.
Mm-hmm.
Man, imagine that though. Like you go on the Tattoo
Mm-hmm.
of the Earth tour with Mudvayne and Slipknot and all these crazy
Mm-hmm.
new metal bands, but then you're out with Creed.
Right. Well, I mean, back then it was, I mean, we're talking 2000, I think, is
Yeah.
when that tour was, 2000. I mean, Creed was everywhere.
Oh
Creed was
gosh, yeah. They were
humongous. They were the biggest band
enormous.
out there, at that
Absolutely.
point in time. So getting a tour like that, we're like, whoa,
Oh yeah,
you
that had to been
know.
huge for him.
And I imagine there was a little bit of confusion maybe with some of the fans given the name of the band.
Oh, that's true.
Um,
Yep.
I
Yep.
was reading some articles on I don't want to call them like Christian websites, but they were reviewing Day of Fire and
Sure.
all of that stuff. And when Josh made mention of working on another record with Full Devil Jacket, they got all weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just a name, guys.
Right.
It's not satanic. Calm down. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
And there was one guy, and I mean, you can Google Full Devil Jacket or Josh Brown reviews, and you'll find this one. But I mean, the kid just completely wrote him off because of the name,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate. But you can, with Creed's fan base, being super Christian, there may have been a little bit of that going on too. So I don't know what the reception was really, but yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
That would be because but I mean, part of it's like, you have a bunch of a bunch of fans that like Creed because they like Creed. But then you
Mhm.
also have a whole bunch of bands or fans. Geez, can I keep saying that? You have a whole bunch of fans that like the band because they were Christian based and,
Mhm.
and open about it and stuff. And
Right.
so, yeah, I could see that. It would probably turn some people off, I could imagine.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would
Yeah.
be conflicting.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, and like you said, there were fans of Creed who just liked the music,
right. Yeah.
regardless,
Right. Yeah, because
and
they're everywhere on the radio
yeah,
and
they were just
MTV
everybody knew
everywhere.
With Arms Wide Open.
Right.
Didn't matter what it was about. Like everybody knew that song because it
Yep.
was everywhere.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, that's the only Creed song I remember, but
Yeah.
huge nonetheless.
Yeah, because I remember there's like a big conflicting thing. And I don't know if you remember this band, but they're called The Word Alive.
Oh, sure.
And in the Christian element, that's the Bible,
Right.
and so they like The Word Alive like went on tour with all of these Christian bands.
Are they a Christian
And
band?
what's that?
Are they a Christian band?
No.
I was gonna say
It's so
I don't
they
remember
were
them
getting
being a
picked
Christian
up
band.
on all these tours with all these Christian bands like left and right. And then they're coming
Oh
out and they're like,
man.
"What's up, MFer?" And they're just and all the crowd's like, "Whoa!" just losing their minds. Like, what is happening? And it was like they did like interview after interview. Like, I don't know why we keep getting pulled on these tours, but we're doing it, you know. And but yeah, they had to have found it funny, you know.
I
And they're
mean, how
just
could you not?
right. And they're like, I don't know why people keep confusing this. I'm like, dude, because the word alive, that's the
Right.
Bible, homie. You know, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's like, do your
That's
homework of what you're
right.
calling yourself, you know?
Yeah, but
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
you know, where did corn come from?
True. But again,
You know,
you don't consider them Christian off of this.
well,
You
no,
know?
but you know,
Yeah, no, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
man, that's funny. Yeah, no. Anyways, yeah, the word alive was a good they're good though. They're
yeah,
really good. Good
yep,
band. But
totally.
anyways,
Um, you know, reviews on Full Devil. I mean, this really kind of ran the whole spectrum. You know, there were reviews saying that the album is perfect from beginning to end, and then there's some that say it's run of the mill, it's unfocused, doesn't stand out,
yeah.
and it's like, who's writing this
Yeah,
trash?
they don't
You
know
know
what
what
the
I
hell they're
mean?
talking about.
Like,
It I would say it's a perfect album. There's that's why when you said
it's
that, I raised my hand. I'm like, if I was
yeah,
reviewing it, you know, I would say
yeah.
it's perfect.
There,
There's nothing wrong with it.
there's no
The Kate,
skippable tracks.
yeah, every track is an absolute banger, and it
Mhm.
takes you through a freaking storyline of different emotions and all sorts of stuff. You know, I mean, there's that's what I love about stuff back then was it, you know, it was just some stuff was just real raw, some stuff was real heavy, some stuff was freaking you're on the verge of tears, you know, and it, you know, some stuff was sleepy, some stuff was, you know, whatever.
Mm. Yeah,
It was all over the place and you could do whatever you want and paint whatever
yeah.
picture you wanted. And I felt like that album was just so well put
Mhm.
together, so well produced, very clean.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it's just so good. It's one of those few that you can put on and just let it freaking repeat over and over
Yeah,
and over again and you don't
yeah,
get sick of it.
yeah. You know, I think Malcolm Springer did a tremendous job. I think the studio choice was perfect,
Yeah.
you know, because, you know, Nashville is, you know, back then was mostly country music. So those studios were
Right.
built to handle acoustic
Yep.
guitars.
Big
And
time.
the blend that Malcolm and the band got on this record of acoustic guitars to the heavy guitars was spot on. Like I've
Absolutely.
heard very few people do it that well
Mm.
since, you know, because when you're trying to blend those two instruments together, it's very difficult, you know, because they are two dramatically different sounds. You can play the
Right.
same chord on both and they're going to sound dramatically different.
Sure.
And you know, just the mix and levels and all that stuff. It's incredibly difficult, but they nail it.
Yes.
And I think that's what gives it such a unique kind of flavor. Because you try and listen to other bands do that and it just didn't hit the same,
Yeah.
you know, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah, it
you
is.
record in Nashville and that's what's going to happen. Those studios were built to handle those instruments. And I mean, let's be honest, you can probably record a electric guitar anywhere and it's going to
Sure.
sound fine.
Sure.
But the same does not hold true for acoustic instruments. You
Yep.
know?
That's
So
the
I mean, I
truth.
think that's why the songs that kind of have those intros or those main parts being acoustic just work,
Yep.
you know.
Absolutely.
Hard to replicate live, of course, but you know, but the studio nailed it. So
I think so.
yeah. So what are your favorite tracks on here? If you had to pick a handful.
Well, okay. So number one, where did you go?
Sure.
That's, you know, probably it's got to be top 25 best songs to me of all time.
Mm.
But then like Monster, is that what it's called?
Mm.
That's another good one. I gotta actually. It's been a long time since I'm horrible with remembering names of songs.
Yeah.
Right, you say, hey, name five songs off of And Justice for All. I'm like, one. But I could tell you, like, I could sing every freaking lyric in that entire album.
Right.
I just never looked at the actual names of songs.
Sure.
Um, yeah, those are like the top two that stand on my head. What was yours?
Um, I was a big fan of Blue Green Day and Cardboard Believer. Um,
Okay.
but I have a really, and this is kind of getting into the next part of the conversation, the where it takes you part. But
Sure.
um, while they were on this tour, so this is where it takes me. So I'll just go ahead and go into it. But I do have a story. Um, the band did open for Full Devil Um, they were doing some, I don't know if they were off date headlining shows or what they were, but they came through Omaha and we opened the show and and I already loved the record, so I was super excited to do it anyways.
Yeah.
And because back then, um, when you would open for a band, at least in my experience, typically you would meet them and, if there was any kind of catering or, whatever. And it was kind of a hangout scenario.
Yeah.
And so I was super excited. And, but some bands, they keep to themselves. They stay on
Sure.
their bus or
Yep.
green room and they don't really talk to any support bands or, they're just doing their thing on tour and that's totally fine too. And,
Yep.
if memory serves, that's kind of how Full Devil was. And I was like, all right, that's cool. But kind of going back to why Monster is probably my favorite song because it triggers this memory for me. And it's such a heavy song, and not
Right.
heavy as in like super massive
Just
guitars and
depth.
all that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying like the vocal performance and the
Mhm.
lyrics they carry a lot of weight,
Oh,
right?
big time.
And to watch Josh Brown sing that song was one of the most moving experiences of my life. I'm not going to
Oh
lie.
man.
And I happened to be standing, side stage, and he was like right over top of me singing this song. And I'm just like, this is music. This is what music is
Yeah.
supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to make you feel. And, this is an example of that. Like, and it was just, I don't know. It's hard to put into words, to be honest with you. It was just so incredibly moving to listen to him perform that song. And that memory is, and I can see it as clear as day. And this was 25 years ago,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget it.
That's
And I've
awesome.
loved that song ever since. And I've
Well,
loved him ever since as a
right.
vocalist.
Well, I was gonna say, and that's so, and I've known you for a long time, and
Mhm.
that's the one thing that I would say is that if people really want, if people really get to know you, you don't talk about vocalists very often. It's
Mm-mm.
usually guitarists or bass guitarists, and that's
Yeah.
obviously that's your shtick. That's
Right.
what you're
That's my
passionate about.
lane. I
That's your
tend to
lane,
stay in it.
exactly. And me, it's always vocalists and drummers and stuff like that. This is what we
Mm-hmm.
do. And but yeah, it's like for years, all these years I've known you, you've always talked very highly of Josh Brown. I'm like, dude, why is
Mm-hmm.
he on him so hard? But it's
Yeah,
cool though
that's
because
why.
that's definitely I share the same sentiments. I wasn't actually at that show, but so I've never seen him live. I wish I would
Mm.
have, But yeah, I've just always thought that he's one of the best to do it. He's just got such a cool voice, man.
I mean,
But
yeah, it's so incredibly moving. And,
yep,
that's really, that story has stuck with me, of course, but, seeing him perform, other latter songs that they did,
yeah,
still the same kind of thing, but nothing resonates with me quite like that performance because it was live and it was, when you hear musicians talk about smaller venues being, more intimate,
yep,
this is exactly what they're talking about.
yeah,
And this is exactly why a lot of people like those shows because you do make that connection with people. And
yeah,
I never got a chance to talk to him or meet him really. So I don't know if he like had that same kind of thing with me or anybody else, as a
sure,
singer, as a performer. But it certainly meant a lot to me for sure.
sure,
Um, and, kind of keeping with the theme of this podcast, I've spent a number of years trying to find him,
yeah,
because the musician in me is like, you never know until you ask, it's
yep.
like, man, I wonder if he'd be down for, working on a track
I was gonna
together
say
or
like a
doing a
collab.
song. And
Yep.
yeah. And I mean, everything's been dormant, So Full Devil Jacket, they did release another album in 2015 called Valley of Bones, which was also very, very good.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was without Michael Reeves, the original
Yeah.
guitar player.
Yeah, because he passed away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But after that, he kind of disappeared. And if anybody knows where he is, I would sure like to know.
Yeah. No kidding.
It's
Man.
like the Full Devil Jacket website's been kind of dormant. His social media has been kind of dormant.
Oh,
He's got, I think on Facebook, I think it's just Josh Brown or Josh Brown Music. And ironically enough, there's a big up and coming country guy, I think, named
Oh
Josh Brown.
yes,
So
yeah,
like there's some confusion there too. Um, but I actually found his so he's also an artist, and there's kind of an online gallery website called Pixels,
sure.
and he has a Pixels profile.
Oh wow,
And I'm surfing through it, and I'm like, he's actually a really good artist, like painter. Like there's some cool stuff on here, right?
right,
And I'm like, oh, maybe I can get a hold of him through this website
huh?
because in fact I asked, and sometimes off that website you can buy the original piece, right?
Sure,
Or you can
yeah,
buy a print, or you can have it printed on a T-shirt or a bag or whatever. And for so some of them they had that, but for the Valley of Bones cover art painting, it didn't have the original listed. So I emailed
interesting.
and I said, what are the odds you're selling the original painting for Valley of Bones? And I never heard back, of course,
Ah,
but
dang it! Oh man,
I was fully prepared to buy it. I know
oh,
that's a bit of a letdown,
I
but
thought you were setting it
um,
up. I'm like, no freaking way you got that. I was like, you're just telling me now?
dude, I wish I could hold it up here right now and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I got
Do,
it,
do, 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 do.
but I don't. I can't John Oliver this one.
Man,
But yeah, I mean,
that would have been cool.
he went off grid. He's kind of
Man.
a
Yeah, you're
can't
right.
find him.
Like looking at Josh's Facebook page, he last post was May of 2020.
And I don't
Um,
even think he posted it. I think that was he was tagged in something.
no, it says, hello, everyone. Hope you're all
No,
healthy
it
and
is.
doing well. Here's some music for this long weekend. Enjoy. And
Yeah.
it's American Lion Alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but dude, I don't know. Maybe COVID dude, it rocked
Yeah,
people.
maybe.
And I just mean
Yeah.
mentally, people just freaking priorities changed and,
Yeah.
views on life changed. And, yeah, because he
True.
is, before that, he's just promoting this,
Mm.
uh, what was it? What did I say?
American
American
Lion.
Lion. Yeah, just
Mm.
promoting American Lion all over the place. And then just boom, stopped.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I don't know.
hope
It's
he's okay. You
yeah, I
know.
hope he's okay too. I don't know, maybe he's dadding it up somewhere, and just
Yeah.
got his priorities a little bit different. So
Hey, I get it. I'm not a huge fan of social media myself,
yeah.
so
And it
you
takes
know,
it takes work. Yep.
I was off of Facebook for over 10 years, and the only reason I got back on was this podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
I shouldn't
Reeled
say
you
that. This
back in.
podcast, and I had to do some narcotic work, but
Yeah.
narcotic self work.
Yeah, that sounds
So
bad
that's
if you
the
just
only
say
reason.
narcotic work.
Yeah.
Gotta
So I
get
mean,
back
if
into the drugs
yeah,
on Facebook. Don't
yeah,
tell anybody.
exactly. Yeah. If I wasn't doing either, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Instagram probably because Instagram's pretty whatever.
Sure.
But I mean, Facebook is having been off of it for that long and then coming back, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird place now.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, you know.
Yeah, I remember when you first started back up, you're like, dude, everything has changed. And I'm like, yeah, it's different, it's yeah,
it's
man, it's
it
bittersweet
I don't know.
sometimes.
Everybody everybody's promoting something, everybody's selling
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
and I'm like, okay, I don't want to buy any of it. I'm not going to subscribe to your page. I'm not going to subscribe to any of your pages on this website or another one. You
right,
know what I mean? It's
right.
just like,
Well, and
or
that's the
Instagram,
thing.
it's like I can play my guitar and record it and like
Yeah,
it, don't like it. I don't really care. I'm not trying to be sold anything,
sure. And that's the thing. Facebook's just gotten gross. Like
Yeah.
2009 was when I like officially made the shift, to Facebook from MySpace, and
Mm.
and it just seemed
Yeah.
what's
Sorry,
that?
every time you say MySpace, I just kind of start
Yeah.
laughing in my head. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah, I miss MySpace, dude. It
I
was,
don't even remember it to be honest with you.
oh gosh, I remember. Oh,
I
I
mean, I
miss it.
do, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was just it's hard to kind of remember the operation of it, because we're so used to
yeah.
like doom scrolling now, and that's
Hmm.
not what MySpace was. MySpace was very intentional. I mean, you
Yeah.
could have people reach out to you, but it was, or you could like like actually search for things. You know, there wasn't a lot of like suggestions of stuff. And so
Hmm.
that's why it was like a big deal for
Right.
like Hollywood Undead and stuff to be blow up on MySpace and make it so big, and all these other bands that made it big off of MySpace and everything, because it was just a different way of doing it. And but the thing I liked about MySpace was, you know, that's just the way it was, what it was called, MySpace. You know, it was like, this is my little corner of the internet, and if you
Yeah.
want to know about me, this is what it looks like, and this is what I listen to, and here's my friends, and you know, it was really fun. He just kind of searched through people's lives a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
and it was very interesting. And then Facebook was like, well, we're going to take away all of the HTML coding and stuff. And so you can have your own little page, but you know, it's real generic. And, but now you get to scroll through things, and we're going to feed you things. And everybody's like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then it just got gross, like real quick. Like once MySpace died, Facebook's like, okay, we'll take it from here.
Right.
And it just, yeah. And you know, there's the saying, you know, in life, you're either being sold to or you are being
Selling.
sold. Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're either having a product being sold to you or you are the product. And
Hmm.
so it's like so you got to look at it. If you're paying for something, you're being sold a product. If you're getting something for free, you are the product. And that's the thing. If you're
Yeah.
paying, we're not paying for Facebook. So guess what?
Hmm.
We're the
Oh, we're
product.
the product. Oh,
Yep.
100%.
And that's why it's so
100%.
gross.
Yeah. And, you know, yeah, the rich get richer.
Oh my gosh. And I just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you, again, I know you don't use Facebook very often, but um like if you like anything on YouTube or whatever, it's like it's all the algorithms like
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
know exactly what you're doing, and that's just
Mm.
gross.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
next
yeah.
thing you know, it's like, you know, you like click on something about volleyballs or something like that, you know, for just by accident. And next thing you know, it's like boom, boom, boom. You just get all
Yeah.
these ads about volleyballs or whatever. And it's like, what the
Hmm.
hell? It's like, no. And like one of my favorite things to do is like about every 2 or 3 months, it's just like get all these ads for all this dumb stuff. You know, it's like I look at one thing one time, you know, like some
Hmm.
supplement or something like that. And the next thing you know,
Hmm.
it's like it's just always throwing it in your face, like,
Oh, yeah.
you gotta buy it, you gotta buy it. And even if you after you buy it, it's still throwing all this crap up in your face. But I'll just go through and like you just because you can like select like hide or whatever, and then like
Mm.
say it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's not relevant or whatever, and I'll just do that for like 45 minutes. Just every
Yeah.
ad that comes up, just not relevant, not relevant, and then all of a sudden it's like Facebook just goes, "Who the hell are you?" You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like it
Exactly.
doesn't know what to send you anymore, and it
Right.
just is like,
You
here's some
fooled the
grass
AI.
seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You
You
broke the
confused the
AI.
AI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it just sends you the most random things, and it's so funny. It's
Mm.
like, you want a pack of rulers? No. Okay. How about old vintage Kool-Aid box? You know,
Right. Yeah.
it doesn't know what to do. That's
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
but otherwise it's
That's
gross.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah. So I guess to tie it up, I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
I'd like to. So if anybody knows, or if
Where
you're
did you go?
him,
Yep.
let me know.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know, but the record is even to this day, it's phenomenal. I still listen to it from
Yeah.
beginning to end. It's yeah, I lean just like you. I lean to the perfect side.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You know, I just yeah. It was
So we talked about your like, where does this bring you? And
yeah,
I'm assuming you're talking about, it was probably the Ranch Bowl. Is that where you played with
yeah. I
them?
was a ranch ball no more. Yeah,
Yeah. And so that's your story with them.
yeah.
And
What's
mine's
yours?
not as cool, nowhere near as cool. But yeah, so I used to work at this place. I could probably say their name now. I think they're defunct now, but I used to work for this place called Paramount Design. And not Paramount like what we know as Paramount today. I wish it would have been. That would have been way cooler. But either which way, so they were like a subcontractor for Quest Communications, if you remember who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to do engineering drawings for them for buried cable and all this other stuff. Very boring. Very, very boring. But I sat at a desk all day drawing these engineering drawings all day long. And the cool part about that job was is you literally could sit there all day and listen to music, and nobody bugged you, nobody did nothing. And it's just mundane, monotonous work, just cranking out music all day. And so I just soaked in all of these bands and all this other stuff. And like Full Devil Jacket was like one of my favorite albums to listen to at that time. And so I just repeated that record over and over. So that's where it brings me. It brings me to this like yellow paint freaking kind of gross office space. And okay, and then just to be fun, I'm going to talk about this little company just a little bit because it's kind of funny. So
Yeah.
this place, it was so poorly ran uh, uh, by the management. Like I've never worked at a company like this before in my life. And so basically they had no cubicles, so we sat in this big open floor and we had desks or whatever, but I could see everybody all day long, all the time. Because the reason they didn't want to do cubicles because they said that they were afraid that people would sleep in their cubicles. And I'm like, okay, I understand it's mundane work, but my goodness, okay, that's crazy. All right, so whatever. So no cubicle walls. We also had to ask permission to go to the restroom. And the reason was because they didn't want more than one person going to the restroom at the time because you could go in there and be, you know, having fun or whatever. So they didn't want you doing that. Or and then the other thing is too is they wanted to know when you're going to the bathroom because they were afraid that people were going into the bathroom to sleep. And I'm like, what
It
is your
seems to be a real
fixation?
issue for them.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm like, what is your fixation on people sleeping at this place? Like,
Yeah.
I promise you, we're not wanting to go to work to sleep. Um, yeah, dude, it was so weird. And yeah, can I tell you how I got that's the only place I've ever been fired from. And it's actually a it's actually a fun freaking story. I won't
Let's
say
hear
any
it.
names here because I don't know if they want their names being told, but I used to work with this dude. I'll just use first name. I used to work with this guy there named Mitch, and he was one of the most interesting people I'd ever met. He had the heart of gold, personality of a teddy bear, but deeply into Spawn. So he was just into this
Okay.
really weird death stuff, and just just the nicest guy. And but yeah, he was something else. But we worked together, super funny guy. And so one day we were like kind of sitting next to each other at our desks, and there's these gals who sat behind us, and the women just got away with murder. Not to sound sexist, or whatever, but it was all women management, and then the girls that worked there, they just got away with whatever they wanted to and stuff. And so us guys always got treated like crap. And but anyway, so these girls were like talking, and we weren't supposed to talk at work, because again, this was basically
Man.
a prison.
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
dude, it was horrible. But anyways, so these girls were talking and stuff, and I'm like, I'm getting upset about it, and so Mitch like writes a little note and he passes it over to me, like we're in high school. And then so I'm like, oh man. And he was like, these chicks are ticking me off or something like that. And I'm like, I kind of chuckle. I'm like, yeah, I was like, I wish I could freaking shut him up. And so I pass it back over and he starts laughing. And so, long story short, we start passing this note back and forth, and it turns into like, oh man, I wish I could freaking, shut them up in like some kind of violent ways. Like we're just saying like different, things because they're just driving us nuts. And we're real young. I mean, I think I was like
Right.
21 or something like that. And next thing you know, like I said, Spawn fan. Okay. So, so he sends over this note over to me, and it says, I wish I could like, what was it? It was like, I wish I could hang them up by their skin and watch them like writhe in pain and dance in their blood or something like that. And I'm
My
like,
God.
whoa. I was like, dude.
Oh
And
my
I'm just
God.
dying laughing because it was just the most unhinged thing. And but again, he's just a teddy bear of a guy, just had a weird, way about him and stuff. So
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
freaking laughing my blood off, about it. And I'm like, okay, we gotta, put this away and stuff. So he puts the note in his desk and locks his drawer. Next day, coming to work, blah, 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 blah. I go to leave for lunch. I come back from lunch and there's or no, one cop car sitting out in front. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. And so I go inside, and everybody's just like, it was already pretty quiet in the first place, but you could just feel this palpable, tension in the air.
Mm.
And I'm like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, Mitch comes walking out of our supervisor's office with this police officer.
Mm.
And they walk over to his desk and they take a black plastic bag, put all of his stuff in his desk, and he walks out the door. And I'm like, that's weird. And then I'm like, man, well, kind of, it's Mitch. He's in a spawn
Yeah.
and all this weird stuff. And
Right.
then all of a sudden, the supervisor walks over me and she's like, Jeff, we need to talk to you really quick. I'm like, what the hell did I do? So we go into the office and we sit down and she's got a photocopy of that note sitting on her desk. And she was like, somebody put this on my desk last night and they said it was you and Mitch. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to deny it. I was like, yeah. But I was like, we were just joking around. I was like, it was a stupid thing. These chicks were blah, 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 blah. And it was kind of ticking us off. And so we just started writing this stuff down. And we're just laughing about it. And I was like, who gave you the note? She's like, I don't know. It was this photocopy. It was anonymously laid on my desk last night. And I'm like, so somebody broke into Mitch's
Yeah.
desk and photocopied this and then put it on your. And I was like, that doesn't worry you that somebody's breaking into other people's desks and stuff? And the cop's like, he's got a point. And I'm like, yeah, I got a point. I was like, this is stupid. I was like, we're not going to do anything. Did you meet
Yeah.
Mitch? He's a weirdo, but he's not like
Yeah.
that weirdo. And so I ended up like cracking up the cop and everything. And so we just laughed it all off and everything. But then the supervisor was like, well, I already talked to the corporate and everything. And they said, there's no way we can allow you to stay here. And I was like, okay, you're lost, because I was like their
Right.
best worker. So I packed up all my stuff in my garbage bag and had the cop walk me out. And everybody's just like, oh my gosh, they fired Jeff. And I was just like, I wanted to get the hell out of this prison anyways, so it was
Right.
totally worth it.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, dude, it was crazy, man. It was the only time I've ever been fired. I got walked out by a police officer. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God. That's
Fun
wild.
times.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Man, it's
Anyways.
like the I don't know how do I want to say this, like passing the note back and forth. That's kind of like the origins of the instant message or whatever.
It kind of was, yeah.
The office
The
chatting
office chat,
online or
office
whatever.
Skype. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Microsoft
mean,
Teams
there you go. Yeah,
or
there you go.
whatever.
See, we should have, yeah, we started teams just in a very
Yeah.
violent way.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah, Full Devil Jacket, fun to listen to
Yeah.
when you're working at a prison.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, cool.
It's if you haven't heard it, go listen to it
Oh my
immediately.
gosh,
There's
please do.
actually fun fact, and I didn't know this. There was a another record being worked on that never made it out. But somehow some of the songs made it to YouTube.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll link them.
Please do. I got to check that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. They're quite good.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yep. Yep. I'll link them down below for the YouTube folks. So if you're listening on another platform, definitely check it out on YouTube if you want to hear those songs. I don't believe they made it to any other platform like Spotify or anything
That's
like
fun.
that. I think it's just YouTube. So
That's so fun. I love
Yeah.
uncovering old things that, you would have
Mhm.
never, it's just like, it's like the dead coming back to life almost. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like I shared Forever with Snot, Fred Durst, with my boys or whatever. And they were blown away. They're like, oh my gosh, it's like old school Fred Durst. And, like we thought that we had uncovered everything and stuff. And it's like this little hidden gem. And I'm like, heck yeah, dude. I was like, that freaking song rocks.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like 2000. So that was peak Fred Durst. Freddie D, baby.
Freddie D.
Freddie D. All right, brother.
All right, man.